Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome. It's nice to see you all. And I want to say thank you very much to our guest, Jake. Does everybody in here, is there anyone who doesn't know Jake?
There's definitely some familiar faces in here.
Okay. Rob doesn't know. And Kathy doesn't know. Okay. All right.
Kathy
And
knows, unless there's two Kathys.
Maricela doesn't know. Okay. So Jake is a sub-2 student. Are you a mastermind?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's in sub-2, he's in mastermind, but he's also in Gator. And most importantly, in Gator, he has been called upon to do a lot of underwriting and training. So if you're in Gator, Jake is a God's God. But he's also very active in sub-2, and he got started along the path. Monica says, I know who he is, but I have seen him in Pace's YouTube videos too. Yeah, of course. And Jake got started doing PadSplit when PadSplit came in. And I think now he's kind of off and running. Now, I know that anyone who really knows me has heard my criticisms or, that I'm not crazy about PadSplit. However, recently I'm learning that they're actually evolving, which is good. Because, when they had come in and done the 2 Zooms with us in sub-2, they had talked about how they focus on CC minus properties and neighborhoods, and that they were working with workforce. Well, I spoke with a leader who wants me to, we're considering going into business together. And she has a very nice property. And she's like, I was thinking maybe we could get PadSplit to do it. I said, no way. PadSplit doesn't do nice properties. And she goes, actually, I think they do now. And Jake is nodding his head. And I'm glad to see that, because I think that that would make it possible for them to increase their market share, and I had always said, well, I'll try to do one PadSplit just so I can see where their limitations are. But how nice that they're actually growing and are now starting to do more higher end properties. So that's pretty kick-ass. So at this point, I'm going to ask Jake to take over and talk to us about how many properties he's got, how many he has done, what his experience has been with PadSplit, and when he's going to do business with me, and what kind of a deal we're going to do. I'm just kidding.
Well, Effie, I mean, we have 4 properties in escrow right now that are going to be PadSplits, so there may be something there.
Okay, you got 4 in escrow?
Yes. And hopefully, there's a few other people on the Zoom that I'm hoping to partner with on some PadSplits also. So I'm excited to talk about this.
Good.
I love PadSplit, and they're definitely evolving. I think the first time that I really started looking seriously into it, I mean, we're not talking a long time. It wasn't that long ago that Pace, had those Zooms with us. I think they came out to Raleigh, where I'm from, in July. And so I got to meet a bunch of the PadSplit reps and the CEO. And like shortly after that, we were like, okay, we're going to give this a shot. And we bought a property in Houston, which is the one I'm going to share tonight. Effie, full disclosure, I did not have time to do a PowerPoint, but I could pull this up. I could share my screen and pull it up, and we'll talk about the numbers and everything. But I really wanted to jump in with the PadSplits and figure it out. I figured worst case scenario, if I hated it, there are actually lenders now who have developed loan products where you could go purchase a fully operating PadSplit and they could underwrite it as such,
Really?
where, yeah, there's a lot of DSCR lenders won't, they underwrite everything as a long-term rental, but things are changing. The need for affordable housing is crazy, and I don't think it's going to go anywhere. And so anyway, we jumped right in. One of my buddies, Jabs, don't you, Effie?
Who?
Jabs Carter.
Of course. Yeah, Jabs Carter is a great guy. Yeah.
So it was like a few days after I came back. So it was PadSplit meetup, then the road trip with Kevin, and then like right after I came back from that, Jabs was trying to sell a property in Houston, and I was like, you know what, this would fit perfectly for a pad split. So if you want me to share my screen, I'd be
Yes,
happy to.
I've given permission for that. I think you should have it. Now, was Jabs looking at a C minus property or was it a different one?
So this property, it's a little deceiving because if you look at it, where do we go? Right here. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a pretty new build. I think it was built in 2020.
That looks nice.
It's a nice house, right? So we
Mhm,
we were like, okay, it's a 3 bedroom, 3 bathroom.
mhm,
I think it's just short of 2,000 square feet, so it had plenty of space in it.
mhm.
And it was a VA loan, 2.85 interest rate. So
Nice.
even, yeah, I mean, even without pad split as an option, this was a good deal anyway. But it looks like a nice house and it looks like a nice neighborhood. Now, funny enough, this is the house, Effie. I don't remember if you seeing. I had a car that crashed through
Oh,
the
yes.
the fence.
Yes.
So I would definitely, now knowing the area better, call this a C neighborhood. It was actually a police chase that ended in the backyard of this property. Um,
Sorry, that's funny because the house does look very nice, and
well,
I'm like,
yeah,
well, and they're like, it's a C neighborhood.
yeah. But around this time in July, even the meetups that Pad Split was coming to, and they were talking about they're looking for those B minus C neighborhoods, and that was pretty much what you were limited to. But some of the properties that we have under contract now that I'll talk about are much nicer. We have a duplex, and I'll pull them up too as we go. But I just want to show you this. So you guys, if you don't know much about Pad Split, but I'm guessing most of you do, they'll come in and they'll turn all of this common area, the living room and this dining space, into extra bedrooms. So we actually got 3 more bedrooms out of the space that you see here.
Three.
And yes, and we turned it into a 6-3. Um, and that took the gross cash flow of this property from, I'm sorry, not the gross cash flow, but the rental rates went from about 1,800 as a long-term rental
Mhm.
to I think last month we did 4,400 gross on it, which ended up netting us about a little less than $2,000.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and so
Because that house is not all that big, 20, I mean, it's good, but
right.
I'm learning from Sam and he wants you to have bigger houses, so you can get 8 or 9 and then
Well, that's what we're doing now. We
Mhm.
have a duplex in Nashville that we closed on a couple weeks ago that we're doing the upstairs as pad split, and there's a basement apartment, but the
Oh,
two sides of the duplex is going to give us 12 rooms that are going to be pad splits. So
nice.
that one, I mean, we're expecting more of a net on that one of around 3,500 when it's all said
Very
and done.
nice. Very nice. Do they have any common space at all, Jake?
The common space in this house is the kitchen, laundry room, and bathrooms. And that's it.
Okay.
Some
Yeah.
of the other ones that we're getting into now, like we've left a living room here and there, because one of the things I want to talk about is like pad split has their requirements, but I've noticed that it doesn't always make sense to push those requirements. So like, for example, you can have 4 bedrooms per 1 bathroom in the house. Now we've learned that 3 per bathroom is probably more of the sweet spot.
Yeah, I hear you. For me, 3 is the max. I
Yeah.
personally think 2 is the sweet spot.
Yeah.
But it's because I'm looking for higher end properties and people who
Right.
would want to stay for a long time.
Right.
The bathrooms are nice. Oh, that's a good walk-in
Can you get
closet
out?
that you saw. There was good space there.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure this is the master bedroom, maybe. I don't even, I've never seen this house in person. So I'm going by the pictures. I did
Ah,
Has
a
Jab seen
FaceTime
it in
walkthrough.
person?
no.
Jabs?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had boots on ground go there and do a FaceTime walkthrough with me. We had our contractor check it out, right? So like we did some due diligence. We didn't do an inspection. Like I said, I think it was built in 2020 or 2021.
Yeah.
So this is the fence that got destroyed, by the way. All this whole section was taken out. I don't know how they missed all of this right here, but the whole fence was gone. And so actually our homeowners insurance denied that too.
Why?
um, because they said the damage wasn't enough to, these insurance companies that we're using, I think our deductible was what, 5,000, right? So I think they put the value on the fence damage at about 4,000. So it didn't make sense for them to cover it,
Gotcha.
but we had to, so that wasn't cool. But like you see, this house has a 2-car garage. A lot of people would go in there and turn this garage into another bedroom or two.
Mhm.
But I think like I said, we're finding that sweet spot where like you're not having to maximize every inch, maybe, with how much the cash flow is already working. I think 6 bedrooms is probably the minimum you want in a property. But then over that, like you're already cash flowing nicely at 6. And so if you want to find that mix, where that balance where you could keep the tenants happy and have minimal issues, but still make plenty of money. And I think that 6-bedroom mark is right there, especially in a house that's not bigger than 2,000 square feet.
Right, right. I was gonna say, depending on the size of the house, of course. Yep. Very
But
nice.
now the duplex that we're under contract on in Nashville right now is more like 4,500 square feet or something like that if you include the basement.
Wow.
And so like 12 bedrooms in this one.
Wow.
Oh, come on.
12
12 bedrooms in this one is not really a big deal. I think it's 1306.
No, but it depends on the bathrooms.
Yeah.
And also, I'd like to know, as we go along, the kind of folks that you've rented to and how long did it take for you to fill them? And if you
So
wish to ask questions, feel free to drop them in the chat.
I have so many tips that I want to like drop right
Oh,
now.
good.
I don't know why my computer is spazzing out for some reason. 1306
Oh,
9th Street. Old.
yeah, that's a good point. You know what? Rob Anthony says, do you have any pictures after the walls went up? That would be a good thing to show.
I have
what it
some
was
in
like.
progress. I have some in progress photos in my phone somewhere that I'll find. Yeah.
Okay. This is nice.
This is the duplex that's in Old Hickory, which is about 20 minutes outside of downtown Nashville. So like really good location. My whole team actually went and visited this one in person for a weekend and like did a little team mastermind and some planning and stuff like that. But this house is, see, this one is 4,300 square feet.
Right.
So, getting 6 bedrooms per side on this, it sounds like a lot, but when you get in there, it's really,
yeah, it's not that.
still plenty of space.
Yeah. Are you kidding? Because Sam says you can get 11 bedrooms at a 3,250.
Mm-hmm.
So
if you want to squeeze every inch out, you absolutely could. Now, this one, though, we're doing a whole bunch of rehab before we go live. So this one, like the kitchens are getting redone. I think we're redoing some drywall. There's some TLC that needs to happen, but overall, it's like a really nice property.
I like it. I'm not
plenty of
crazy about the
parking.
color, but that's okay.
Yeah, we might change that. I don't know. It's
not
it
necessarily
fits
worth
it fits the neighborhood. Like it's one of those, like storybook type neighborhoods.
Nice.
So anyway, it took us, I would say, 5 days to fill all 6 rooms in our first PadSplit, and we have some tips that we like to tell people. So first of all, you can pre-list your PadSplits on the website before they're even ready. So as soon as we get under contract on one, we're already putting it on the web, on PadSplit's website as coming soon. And what's happening is by the time we're actually closed and the construction is done and we're ready to go live, we already have 50, 60 people on a waiting list. And so when we make it active, anyone who joined the waiting list is going to get notified that it's ready to rent.
Right.
So I think the whole thing filled in 5 days. And then we found out some neat tricks. I'm going to stop sharing for now and then we figured out some neat tricks. Like we've been using this ladder method where we underwrote the property, I think at $160 a week per bedroom. And then the first person moved out and Jacqueline said, hey, why don't we bump the room up $5 a week and see how long it takes to rent. So that's what we did. And it filled immediately. And we were like, okay, now next time somebody moves out, let's bump it $5 a week and see what happens. It doesn't sound like a lot, but that's $20 a month per room in a six bedroom house where people are sometimes only staying a month. So it adds up really quickly. So next person moved out, we bump it up $20 a month, it rents immediately. Next person moves out, we bump it up 20 bucks and it rents immediately. And so like we've just been doing that until eventually we'll figure out, okay, this is where the ceiling is in this market at this time. So what ended up happening was when we do our underwriting, our initial underwriting, our real cash flow ends up being, I mean, we'll see where we stop, right? It ends up being 200, 300, $400 more than what we even thought, just by walking it up as people move out.
I think that's smart, very smart. And do you have a lot of turnover? Like how often are you looking and how long are they staying?
I think we've only had two people move out, and it's been live since beginning of August. I think the very beginning of August is when that first one went live, and we've had 2 move outs.
Nice.
In that one, we also have the 2 in Nashville, the duplex in Nashville. I mean,
Well, hold on.
there's one.
You've got a lot of properties, brother, and I'm happy for you. I'll be even happier when you have one with me. But but let's just talk about this one a little bit more.
Sure, yeah.
Because I think there's so much more to still see. Who are the people that are drawn to it? What kind of
So
people?
the kind of people we're seeing are, it's funny, they really range. Our oldest tenant, I think, is 65, and we call him like the house dad. Like he kind of keeps everybody in line.
Nice.
But we also and his story is that he just wanted to downsize, like doesn't need a lot of space, doesn't want a lot of expenses. He, keeps to himself, that kind of thing. So the other type of people we run into are like very young, maybe just moving out on their own for the first time, don't have a huge budget, they're not making a ton of money. We have people who are maybe moving to a new area, but they have a month or two until their apartment is ready or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a lot of it.
Are they
It's
all
only
one
for,
gender or are they mixed?
they're mixed.
They are.
Yeah, they're mixed.
And they
And
don't
which
mind sharing bathrooms?
we haven't had any issues. No complaints about bathrooms yet. Actually, the only complaint we've got at all was it came today, and it was something about the stove. Only half of the burners work or something like that. And so the cool thing about PadSplit though is we have the ability through the website to message our tenants and they can message us. And so like, we just sent them a message and said, noticed that you gave us a negative review, just wondering why, and it ended up being the stove. So I think having the ability to communicate with the tenants and like clearing up any little miscommunications like that is one of the nice things I like about it.
I
With it
agree.
still being very hands off, though, it's extremely hands off. Once it's up and running and PadSplit's really operating it, there's not much to do at that point.
Okay. Hold on a second.
Here in Orlando, we could charge $750 to $900 a month. Yeah, I mean that's a lot of where they end up being. I'd say. I mean, obviously they're charging by the week, but um, I think that that ladder is going to stop in Houston, I think is going to be around that 185, 190 a week. So in that same ballpark.
Interesting. Now you said it's hands off. I'm kind of curious about that. Talk to us about the numbers on this house if you have them or if you can remember them. Like how much did it cost you to get in?
Yeah.
How much did it cost to repair it? And what about PadSplit? What don't they do or what do they do?
Yeah. That Houston house, we purchased it, like I said, sub 2 from Jabs.
Mhm.
The remaining balance on that was 273,000 at 2.85 or 2.75% interest rate, something like that.
Nice.
And then I think the actual purchase price was like 300. So we have 300 to the seller every month also, until that's paid off. So all in, our PITI is 1885 ish.
And
What
that's the
else?
one that you're netting almost 2K on.
Yeah.
Oh,
And we started low. The only real expense so far. Oh, all right. What did it cost? So like I said, the house is already in good shape. It didn't really need any rehab. It just needed the walls, the
mhm.
furniture, and like numbers on each door. I'm sure you guys know the pad
Yep.
split.
Mhm.
Right. So and the cool thing about going through PadSplit is our contractor is awesome. So the bid he gave us actually included all of the furniture and decor and stuff,
Okay.
and a washer dryer, which we didn't have at the time. And they included that in their bid and took care of all of it for us. And um, it was about 25,000 to add the 3 bedrooms, furnish them all, and make all of the updates and changes to fit PadSplit's model.
I'd love to see the furniture. What was it
It's
like?
shameless plug. Actually, I'm not even going to call it a shameless plug. So if you go on my website, it's creativecreditpartner.com/shop. We put like links, Amazon links to all of the furniture that we use in ours.
That's a great idea.
Um,
Referral
yeah, I
links,
think,
right?
yeah, we made $11 last month. So, we'll be
Hey,
retired in 1,000 years.
yeah, next month you're gonna make 14. Don't worry about it. You can
Yeah.
drop your website in there if you want into the
Okay.
chat, and then people
Yeah.
can, because that's one of the things that they look for is like, where can I get furniture and what kind of furniture is it? So
Yeah.
that's good.
Well,
Awesome.
that's one of the nice things about PadSplit is this isn't a midterm rental or a short-term rental. Like you're not having to buy like top of the line furniture and deck this place out. The furniture I think is very reasonable, even brand new. So that's
And
cool.
and all the rooms are furnished?
Yep. All of the bedrooms we put a bed, nightstands, and a dresser, and then you need a piece of art on the wall. And I think that's it. Maybe we put lamps in them too, like a lamp in each room. But that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So it's not very complicated. You don't really have to go overboard. You could keep the cost pretty low there.
Um, what are the costs with PadSplit? What did you said it was 25K for the contractor,
Yeah,
including the furniture, which isn't too bad. What
right.
about the admin fee? What do they charge for managing it?
They charge 15%. Well, 14.75, but essentially 15%. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And does that include everything? Or like you said, you email your tenants? How much of the work is still yours?
Um, it's very minimal. The only time the tenants we ever get any correspondence from the tenants is like, oh, hey, this is leaking, or um, you know, the stove would have been a good example, and except that person instead left a review, which we've since, gone and talked to them about. But that's really it. We've never had anyone message us and say, oh, so and so is playing music too loud, or someone's not cleaning the bathroom. Like we haven't had any issues like that so far.
Wow. And
Yeah.
it's been August,
I'm
August,
sure they're coming
September,
eventually, right?
three
Especially
months.
yeah, with how
And,
fast we're scaling, there's going to be complaints, I'm sure, at some point.
and what about, what was I gonna say? Darn it, I lost my train of thought because I looked in the chat. Um, mm, sorry, I did lose my train of thought, but I might as well bring the question that made me lose my thought. Carrie wants to know, did you use a PML for the properties or did you guys come out of pocket?
PM, yeah, we did, how Pace teaches,
Yep. Yep.
yeah, we used a PML.
And the PML you
From
just lent from, borrowed from, no ownership, huh?
Not on this one. We've since changed. We basically don't even use PML anymore. We're trying to only use private money partners.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Um, Reason being, there's a lot of people who don't have the time or the knowledge to build their portfolio yet, but they want to start building their portfolio. So it's been a good avenue for that. But also, um, when you're doing a lot of deals, it gets really difficult to track. Okay, when does you have to try to remember when all the PMLs need to be paid back? What's our individual deal with them on this and this and this, right? So now we're just trying to do it like very formatted with our PMPs. This is what the structure looks like. Is it cool with you or is it not cool with you? And we make it like we're doing 50-50 partnerships and cost segregations and all that stuff. So I would say that most people are more than okay with those terms
So
and
was
being
the house
partners.
in Nashville, the one that was 6 bedrooms, was that a private money partner?
That was actually, that's a funny story. That one was, it came from when we were doing the watermelon challenge. So it was actually a DSCR loan on that one.
Oh,
Well, it's going to be a rehab loan into a DSCR loan. But that one we have a partner on. He brought $190,000, and he'll be a 50% owner. And when we refinance and pull cash out, he'll get a big chunk of that money back. So,
okay.
um,
And who's we? How many people are in the group?
my creative partner team, all 6 of us.
The 6 that I originally had met?
Yeah, we're still going strong, better than ever.
Wow.
Yeah, not a single issue since we started.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Wonderful. You know, um, it is amazing to me how some, times people just kind of run together and then all of a sudden they're solid.
we
And
talk about this.
other times,
Sorry, I
of
didn't
course,
mean to
it
cut you
doesn't
off.
go that way, but it's very nice that you've got 6 people and that you guys are all running with it. That's awesome.
Yeah, we talk about it a lot. Like we realize it's not the norm. Where I mean, just from day one with 6 people, everyone was telling us we were nuts. You were one of them. I
Yep.
don't know if you remember that.
I do
And
remember because I said it's too big. There's too many,
mhm,
chefs in the kitchen and too many chances of, disagreements. So I'm very happy for you guys that
yeah,
you are all chugging along. Now,
thank
it
you.
definitely helps that you're at the helm and that you're doing well. I think that there could still be potential for problems if it turned around the other way and there were some like everybody had to put money in. That would
I, I mean, we have done that before, though. Like, it's one of those things where we just haven't had even remotely close to like a disagreement yet. We've had deals where our private money or something has fallen apart the day of closing, and we've put our own money into it. Everyone's just like, okay, well, we'll just pitch in now and we'll figure it out later. Like it's very,
good.
we're also laid back within the group, so we make everything work. And
Nice.
I'm grateful for that.
Me too. Me too. I think that's fantastic. As so tell us about you've told us about the Houston and the Nashville property. So you have
Mhm.
already got 2. Is that right?
Yeah, actually, they consider the duplex too,
Oh, so
actually,
you have
but
three properties.
no, we have more. I think we're 6, 7, 8, and 9 are in escrow right now for our pad splits. So
Okay.
um the duplexes are 2 and 3. We have one in Euless near Dallas Fort Worth, which is about to go live. Just finished up construction. Super excited about that. The
Tell us
numbers on
about
that
it.
one.
Tell us about it. How big is it? How did you get it? Tell us everything about it. Because you know what? You have more than I thought, which is awesome.
Mhm.
But you're kind of pachoop, pachoop, pachoop. And I'm like, wait, look at this one. Let's look at that one.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more because, we're excited for you, but we're interested in knowing how it works because a lot of us have not yet gotten going or, it's about analyzing and learning.
Right.
We have some
I mean,
people that have already said, hey, I'm new to this. You're going fast.
I am so sorry. Let me try
No,
to
no, it's
remember
okay.
the.
It's
Let
just
me
that
try to remember the address. 1210 Princeton, please. There's so many. This one is a pretty similar story though. Bought it from one of my sub 2 buddies. Like everyone knows that I'm buying pad splits now, and so a lot of my friends are just bringing me awesome pad split opportunities, I guess.
are
Let
any
me
of them not PadSplit?
Oh yeah, these 9 are just our pad splits. I mean, property wise, we're probably as a team close to 100. These
Oh,
are just our pad
shit.
splits. 1210 Princeton,
Wow.
please.
Boy, did I call that one wrong when when you guys was first starting. You're close to 100 doors. That's awesome.
Well, Morgan, yeah, Morgan had a whole bunch when I met her already. I'm at I think 30 now myself.
Nice.
Of course, there's no pictures on here. but this was a very similar story. Bought it from a friend in sub two. Had our contractor. Oh, this is a cool thing about our contractor too. So he does Houston and Dallas, and then his son does San Antonio. And so like we've really been picking up the ones in those three markets because he did such a great job for us. So now he's got two of those markets covered, and his son has already been awesome to work with the one in San Antonio we have. So
Very
that
nice.
worked out nice.
I think having a good contractor is really key.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and that's why we're trying to stick to just the core markets now in PadSplit, and then Nashville and Raleigh, because we have boots on the ground and know the markets really well. Jacqueline's about to move to Nashville, so that's going to be super helpful too.
Oh, nice.
So this one we had the contractor go out. It was a similar story. They said that there was plenty of room to add 3 bedrooms. So that's what we did. This one's going to be a 6-3. The rental rates are very similar to our Houston one. So our cash flow is going to be very similar. Used a private money lender on this one, like very, very similar to the one in Houston, number wise and everything.
Did you say you used a private money lender or a partner?
Yep, this was still a lender. We've just switched to doing the PMPs on these from Nashville on, basically.
Nice.
I'll pull up another one for you. Oh, sorry. This is the New Orleans one that we just closed on.
Are you going to do one in New Orleans?
Yep. It's this one right here. This one is actually super cool. This one has plenty of potential to be 8, maybe even 9 bedrooms,
Wow.
but we're just not going to do it. There's room for a bedroom here. Might not even add one here, and you guys will see why.
Yeah, we can't see what you're talking
Oh,
about.
I'm not sharing right now. I'm
No.
sorry.
No, you need to share.
I thought I was.
No, it's okay.
All right.
As soon as you said here, I realized, oh,
okay. This is the front room, and you walk into the house right here.
but this isn't the one that they were saying they could get 9 or 10. No,
Yeah, this one we could easily get 8 or 9, but we're gonna do 6.
but it's 1,700 square feet.
You'll see when I get these pictures here. Let me make the
Okay.
pictures bigger, actually. So there's a garage over here that could be converted into 2 easily, but
Okay.
we're not going to.
Okay.
This front room, we may not even put one here because I think we're going to keep it to 6 bedrooms, and I don't think we're even going to need this front space for a bedroom. Because let me get to okay. So here is the dining space right here.
Wow.
There's going to be a bedroom added here, I think, instead.
Okay.
Which would get us to 4. Plenty of room here for it.
Yep, there is.
We'll probably move the door opening to the door. And where'd it go? So, oh, here we go. Okay. And then we have this attached sunroom area that runs the whole length of the house.
Wow.
And this by itself, we could get the 3 we need just from this space right here.
Right.
And so
is it insulated or does it have to be insulated?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is already part of the house. It's heated and cooled.
Okay. Great.
Yeah. And so we could get the 3 we need right here and turn that dining room into 1 and have 7. If we did the garage, we could have 9. And there's room in the garage to add a bathroom too, if we wanted. So
they just didn't count this as part of the house, right? Is that what they were doing?
This is part of this. Well, I think it didn't used to be. This was the exterior wall, but this was all permanent. This was all permitted.
Got it. Got it. I understand.
No HOA for this house.
Nice.
Plenty of parking. There's street parking too. That's the biggest thing for us is the street parking. This is, I forget what that main highway is. Maybe US 1 is right over here. Yeah, so this one is like as perfect as it gets for PadSplit. There's so much.
So it's 3-2 and you're going to make it 6-2.
6, maybe even 7. And that's really without having to change anything except throwing up some drywall. I
It
like this one
surprises
a
me
lot.
that, 7 people wouldn't mind sharing 2 bathrooms. I guess I'm just, what's really funny is I was born in third world conditions. And when I went back, I was forced to go back when I was 17, when my dad was trying to marry me off to old Greek men, and they still didn't have toilets and electricity. So here it is that I'm complaining that 7 people would be sharing, 2 bathrooms. At least they have bathrooms, but it's
Yeah.
interesting.
This house too, you could see like 184,000. I think we ended up, our purchase price was 200,000 on this one. So you can imagine our PITI is really low for a house
Mhm.
that's about to be at probably $185 a room for 7 rooms per month. The net cash flow on this, I'd be surprised if it was less than 2,500 a month when it's all said and done.
Right, right.
Um,
Very nice. And like you say, you could even add more if you added another bathroom, if you
mhm.
had like 9, 10. But
We definitely could. Yeah, we definitely could. And this was also a subject to deal. I think the interest rate on this one is 3.375 or something like that.
nice.
Hey,
Um,
Jake, are you paying a assignment fee for your guy getting you the sub-2 property?
yeah, I think our average assignment that we pay is $8,000. So at the end of the day, to not have to spend the time
Oh, for sure.
to go look for these properties or do any of our own marketing or anything is a game changer. Also, it's really what's going to allow us to scale
Scale.
quickly. Yeah, I mean, we can just, if we just look, we know exactly what we're looking for, and we could run the numbers quickly, and we send all of these properties to our PadSplit representatives and get the thumbs up from them before we ever contract them. And once we look at it and we're like, this looks really good, and then our PadSplit rep says this looks really good, it's like, okay, send me the assignment. I'm not playing around. If you have other offers, just tack a few grand onto that assignment. And so there were a few people who I would tell them that, and then they would come back and be like, "Oh, well, someone actually offered this. Can you?" And I'm like, "No, next." And so now they don't. They just come straight to me now. It's been
So with your PMP program, you essentially are going in with zero money yourself, walking away with half ownership.
just like
The
Pace teaches. Yeah,
So you're putting none of your own money in. You're bringing your PMP to take care of everything of the entry fee. You split down the middle, um, the positive cash flow and the write-offs, and you're creating a LLC with what am the agreement, the membership agreement,
operating agreement. Yep.
operating agreement.
Yes, sir.
And I would suspect that, Jake, you're doing the PMP is hands off. Is it passive for them? Because you
If they
are
wanted
doing,
to, we like to do it as also a learning opportunity. So if you're just one of those people who are like, I have money, I don't have time, I just want a return, I want a portfolio, I need depreciation. Cool. If you're one of those people who are like, I want to be included on all of the emails, I want to see the process, I want you to answer all my questions, I want to get on Zooms with your team and show us how you underwrote this deal and blah, blah, blah. That's what we're looking for. I want to teach people how to do the business too.
great.
But if you are one of those people that you just want to sit back and collect your checks, that's fine too.
Interesting. Interesting. Ari says, are all these bedrooms going to have a window and a closet in them?
Yep. Not a closet. They don't all have closets. The ones that don't have closets, we put a big dresser in there or like an armoire type thing. But they don't need closets because we're not listing them for sale. The only time a bedroom only counts as a bedroom if it has a closet is if you're listing it on the MLS.
Yes. But as long as you give them something to put their clothes in, fair enough.
Right.
But otherwise
Right.
people, what are they going to do?
Right.
Jimmy has a
But they
question.
do all need windows and egress
Yes.
and that type of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Smoke
safety.
detectors. Yeah.
Yep. Jimmy, you got a question?
Yes, ma'am. A whole bunch. Um, what what kind of returns are you guys talking about when you're talking to private money partners? Like, what are the expectations there, or do they even care?
We shoot for a minimum net cash flow on our pad splits of 1,500 a month. So in theory, the minimum that a PMP would get every month would be $750. But I think that it's really going to be closer to that 1,800 to 2,300 range on most of them.
What's your average entry fee?
Between 45 and 75,000, depending on how many bedrooms are being added. If the house is already, like, was it built in 2021 or was it built in 1980? Because in 1980, it might have some cosmetic updates that are going to need to happen also. Like the duplex, it needs the kitchens and bathrooms redone. But most of the properties we're buying are sub 2 and on the newer end, because that's the criteria that I'm putting out there. And so most of the time they just need minimal, like adding the bedrooms and the furniture, but not really renovating too much else. Maybe
Gotcha.
replacing some carpet or.
Got it. So they're basically getting anywhere from 12 to 25% cash on cash, give or take.
Right. Then, 50% depreciation. We do the cost segregations. And then one day we'll sell the house and make a profit, and they'll, realize those gains too.
How would you deal with that? Because let's say he doesn't want to sell your PMP.
We have buy sell agreements with
Okay.
everyone. So if somebody wants out, that's outlined how that could happen. Or if we want out, same thing. But our goal is always the long term. I couldn't see us trying to bow out before somebody. So
are you guys putting your agreements any type of buyout? I don't even know what it will be called, but not them wanting to get out, but you wanted to get them out.
I would never force somebody out. So no.
Got it. Pretty cool. Now let me ask you this. You mentioned, right, switching from lending to private money partners. Did you find that having a bunch of lenders being more challenging just on the balloon side of things or anything like that? And that's the change?
Yeah, way more challenging. Trying to, obviously we have ways that we track it, but it's just nice to not have to worry about, like, okay, this property has a PML that has to be paid back this time frame, and this one is different, and we structured our lending differently on these two, and then this one is different, and then, you know what I mean? It's so much. Whereas with private money partners, we know exactly how they're structured. And we want to be partners with, like, I want to continue to grow my network, and I want to continue to help people succeed in this business. And so, like, if I can help someone do both at the same time, that's the ultimate goal.
Got it.
This is Chetna. I have a quick question. How do I be part of your email chain?
I am getting ready to,
sorry,
hopefully.
Could she repeat that? It broke up for me.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. My question is that how do I be on his mailing list?
Like for people who, like, as a private money partner?
Yes.
So I am hopefully by Friday going to have a Zoom scheduled for everybody who's reached out to me lately saying that they were interested in private money partnering. And I want to start doing either once a month or once every other week Zoom with those people, get to know them, show them how we're underwriting the deals, letting them know which ones are available at that time. Becoming friends, really. Like, I just want to have a bunch of friends that I do deals with.
Nice.
So to answer your question, I'll be scheduling a Zoom before the end of the week, and then I'll be putting that Zoom link out there.
Dick, what do you guys usually pay on the assignments? What's your average assignment, especially on sub twos, especially the ones that don't cash flow long term or anything like that?
Our average assignment fee right now is about $8,000.
So you guys are not really paying those, because I've been lately seeing the 20s, 30s. I'm like, man, people are getting a little crazy.
Look, there are deals that I've seen posted with $20,000 assignment fees that I ended up buying with an $8,000 assignment fee. Because they're not finding buyers, and I'm just swooping in there. I'm like, hey, if you'll knock this down to $8,000. I'll send me the assignment right now. And that's usually what ends up happening.
Mm, that makes so much sense because me and my partner were talking about doing basically a lot of what you guys are doing, but he was like, "You're not gonna be able to find the $10,000 assignments." I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't think they're finding these 20, 30,000 assignments.
No way. It just throws the numbers off. At the end of the day, the cash on cash return has to make sense for the private money partner. That's still the most important part. I can't ask someone to invest with me and they're making 4-5% a year. So yeah, our cash on cash return for the partners is 15 to 25% already. And then you factor in the benefits of ownership also. And I mean, it seems like a no-brainer to me. And I think a lot of people that we've already partnered with would agree with that.
100%. Now, your partnership is 50-50 with the PMP, and then I guess the other 50 is split 6 ways.
Right. Yeah.
Well, is it
And how
split
big
6 ways? Wait a minute, Jimmy. Is it
It
split
is.
6 ways, or is it just that you guys are in one LLC?
Well, we're
That
in
is
one
6.
we're in one LLC, and to be honest, we're not even gonna pull money from, like, it's just gonna go into the pot because the real goal is to do bigger and bigger deals. So
Oh, so
that's
you
the
guys
thing too.
aren't taking distributions?
Not yet, no.
Wow. Way to go.
They gotta pay all those private money lenders first.
Yeah, we have lenders we need to pay off first, and then yeah.
Yeah. And then
But
they
that's
can.
the other thing too. The thing is though, we never borrow money that we don't have also.
Good.
Even with the lenders we already have, if the house burned down tomorrow and insurance was like, go screw yourself, it would hurt, but we'd be like, okay, here's your money.
Good.
It's sitting there. So we're not really over leveraging ourselves. And especially with the partners, it's not leverage. You're just partnering. So, we're in a good position. We're trying to be smart and underwrite conservatively and under promise and over deliver. So
Jake, I'm assuming with the way you guys are doing deals all over the place, although you say you narrowed down your markets now to, what was it, Texas, North Carolina, and Tennessee, but
we're narrowed down to all of the core PadSplit markets, and then also the Nashville area and the Raleigh area.
gotcha. So I'm assuming with that, you don't plan on doing any type of self-managing, co-living outside of PadSplit situation.
I
which
have
we
one.
talk about.
It's
Go
funny
ahead.
you say that. I have one in Concord, North Carolina. That's a co-living, but it's not a PadSplit, and it's been the biggest pain in the butt to deal with. And so I think that we're just going to throw that one on PadSplits. It's not a core market, but I think we're just going to throw it on there and have them manage it, because that 15% will be worth it every penny.
It's funny. What about starting your
What
own
part has
management
been a pain
company?
for you?
What was that?
What part has been a pain for you about it? Just vetting the tenants or the members?
So we inherited the tenants when we bought that house, and they don't get along. That's more like if you threw a bunch of high schoolers in a house, it's what you'd expect from that. And so we're slowly we're thinking that we're actually going to turn it into a midterm rental, because it's a really good market for it over there, and it's like 30 minutes from Charlotte. And I think we're getting ready to, I want to wait till after the holidays and everything, but I think we're going to give everybody like a 90-day notice, and then we're going to go in there, do some cosmetic rehab, furnish it real nice, and go the midterm route.
What is your current? Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What is your current buy box? Just like the most updated. You mentioned the markets. Are you trying to stay with turnkey besides the walls? Like what's your current buy box?
Current buy box is minimum 3.2, minimum 1,800 square feet, no HOA, plenty of parking, close to public transit, and as minimal rehab as possible.
It's
And a maximum,
it's a PadSplit model.
and a maximum interest rate of, let's call it 5%.
Are you only going after creators right now? You're not really messing with DSCRs or anything like that?
No, the more time I spend working with hard money and DSCR lenders, the less I want to do it.
You do have a bunch of them already, though, right?
So many. Yeah. And it's just because that's really where I started off. And I mean, we're still doing it. We're still doing the loan sponsorship stuff. So obviously I've done a ton of work with hard money lenders, and man, it gets old.
Yeah, because they're only about the money. And, when you're doing, PMPs, they're interested. They want to be a part of it. It's a big difference.
Yeah.
And I would think that, part of the reason that, borrowing money from private money lenders is because of all the caca that's been going on in sub two. They don't know whether they're going to get paid back, and they're nervous and they don't like being ripped off and all that sort of stuff. So the moment they are 50%.
Yeah.
Sean,
Yeah.
have you got a question? Or actually, Jimmy, let's let Sean ask a question before we go to any more of yours, but we'll come back to you.
I don't
Yes,
think
I
got
do.
anything different, but I'm good.
Okay.
Sorry. Jake, hi, Sean O'Connor. I have a question. You mentioned that you're taking the opportunities that are coming to you, you're running them past the PadSplit AE in the market. What are the questions you're asking that AE?
Now we know each other so well. They know what I'm looking for. I know what they look for. It's more so just, I want to confirm that what my team and I thought was accurate. But what they're looking for the same criteria that I just stated. Basically, it's got to be close to public transit. We're not trying to deal with HOAs. There's got to be parking available. I think their guidelines say there has to be one parking spot available for every 2 bedrooms. So if you're in a 6-bedroom, you need to have enough room for 3 cars. So like, we're just very mindful of those things, and we've realized there's no shortage of opportunities available that fit the PadSplit model. And so there's no reason to try to fit a square peg into a round hole. If something doesn't meet the criteria that we already know works, it's just easy to pass on it because there's going to be something else right behind it.
So how are they helping you understand the market depth for your, with respect to proximity to employment and what the market will bear for your weekly rates for your rooms?
So what they're doing is they'll produce a report. So they'll go plug in the numbers that they expect. And if you go on PadSplit's website, you could actually do this yourself also. You could put in the zip code, the amount of bedrooms that are going to be added, the square footage. You could plug in the numbers. What are the projected construction costs to add the bedrooms and the furniture, right? And it will spit out these numbers of projected monthly gross cash flow and expenses and blah, blah, blah. To save time now, I just texted to one of my reps, and within a couple hours, they send me something back that says, hey, we love this one. Here's why. Or, hey, this one looks good, but keep this in mind. Like, it's a little bit further from public transit than you might want. Or, you're probably pushing it on the parking because we walked around on Google Street View and didn't see any cars parked on the street. So that might be an issue. They just like draw your attention to little things that we know at this point, but most people probably don't know to look for.
Can they tell you how many people are waiting in queue with their hand raised for a room at your asking rate, weekly rate?
They can tell you how the other properties in that area are doing comparatively and give you an idea of what you should be setting that rate at. But like I said, the ladder effect has been nice because they can suggest something and maybe everyone else is just undercharging.
I'm sorry, Jake, I'm asking for empirical data. Are they able to tell you there's 20 people waiting in queue for a room at $225 a week? I'm just for example.
I don't know. They might be able to tell you how many people are waiting for other PadSplits, like are there waiting lists for other PadSplits? Like,
Raise your hand. There's a membership. There's 20 members sitting in New Orleans waiting for a house in that 5-digit zip code or what, or something thereabouts.
You might be able to see that yourself actually, because if you go on PadSplit's website, you can go look up a city and see the rooms that are available and the properties that are available, and it might say on there. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. But then, like I said, you could also be listing these properties. If you do pull the trigger on something, you could be listing these a couple months out from when they're going to be live and have a whole bunch of people, waiting for it to come.
Hey, Jake, just one last question on a personal level. Will you be making your, other than your @Jake handle, will you be able to put your email and or phone number in here to
Oh, yeah.
contact
Absolutely.
afterwards? Okay, great. Thanks.
Absolutely.
I think I should have asked for a referral on this. My referral will be to partner with you.
Well, Effie, you know what I love about you? You even said, like, you started off, you were a little bit skeptical of PadSplit and not the biggest fan, but now here we are and you're hosting PadSplit Zooms. Like, that's what I love about you is, like, you are open-minded,
Yeah,
and
I am.
adapt with the change. And I love
Yeah,
that about you.
if there's something I don't like, I tell people, like I didn't like
Yeah.
some of the things I had heard, but it doesn't mean that I won't still want to learn and to open, because I don't feel I know very much. One of the things that I've always been a little open-minded on that side, but one of the things that PACE has really taught me is that, the more open you are, the more comes to you because you aren't in your own way. So yeah, I understand. And it is really nice to see PadSplit also going through some changes. Could you talk to us a little bit about the upper end? Like, talk to us about, do you have any properties that are, let's say 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 for bathrooms, and like more on the B plus areas, or is that just not
Yeah.
where you want to be?
No, we do want to be there. I'll show you one in Clarksville, Tennessee that we have in escrow right now. As soon as I remember the address. This is my problem. This is like a good problem to have and sometimes a bad problem, but having the team behind me, sometimes, like, when people ask me basic questions like, oh, what's the zip code or the address, I'm like, I don't know. I have to look it up. Here we go. So this is in
nice.
definitely a nicer area.
Mm-hmm.
Much nicer neighborhood, much nicer property. This one is a 6-3 already, and I think that we may just leave it that way. We might add 1 or 2 because there's so much space in this house.
You could add
But
3 easily.
Yeah, I think we could. I mean, this dining room right here could end up being a bathroom if you put a wall here and a wall here. So yeah,
It's beautiful.
it is. It's a very nice house. And this is an example, like in July, if I had sent this to Mandisa, that's the PadSplit rep that I work with a lot, she would have said, it's way too nice for a PadSplit.
Yeah.
And when I sent it to her before we got this one under contract, she's like, oh, this is perfect. And
Good.
so, like, yeah, things are they're evolving. And that's what I like about PadSplit too. Like, I spent some time with their CEO, super cool dude. And yeah, and obviously very open to recommendations or input or whatever. And I think that he's been making changes.
Look at that's so nice.
Oh, this is like,
Oh,
I would live in this house myself if I was going to move to
absolutely.
Tennessee.
Oh, except you got a problem. You got that child's swing set and stuff. We got to have
Maybe
at least one child in that house.
Maybe we'll sell it and recoup some costs.
No, put a roof around it and make it a tiny house.
Yeah, there you go.
What did you end
but
up paying for that?
I'm sorry, what?
What did you end up paying for it?
$425, I believe, was our purchase price. It was just a straight sub 2. I'd have to pull up my underwriting. It's a sub 2 deal. I think the interest rate is very low 4s. The PITI is in the very low 2s.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, it's going to be, I think this one too, in this nicer area, I think we're going to be more looking at like the $215 to $225 per week rental rate versus like, the $165 to $185 range.
Do you think that in a neighborhood like this, that they would still only rent by the week? Because, again, going back to Sam, who I shouldn't be promoting as much as I am, but anyways, you know, he wants yearly leases or every 6 months. And that gives you a different kind of clientele and a different kind of stability, but it is in the kind of house you're showing. So I'm just wondering, do you think that they, like, why go by the week? I
Because
know you
it's
can make 1 week extra a year. I know that part, but
well, yeah, but it's more so like it's just an untapped market. There are people that need to go somewhere for a short period of time and don't want to pay Airbnb or hotel prices.
I see.
You know, it's just
So
it's
you're
already
thinking-
furnished. It's yeah, they you know, it might cost them $700-800 for an entire month in a furnished room in an actual house. And I don't think that you could probably stay at a hotel for a month for less than that, or at least not a nice one.
Yeah. And what's it going to cost you for furniture and the revamping on that one? Do you know?
35,000, I think, was our rehab. Not rehab, sorry, our furniture. And if we end up adding bedrooms, if we don't, I think we're probably looking more at like 10 to 15. Because we'll probably go a little bit nicer on the furniture, a little bit nicer on the decor.
Well, that's the thing about a house like that. You
Yeah.
can't do the same kind of furniture as you would have, you know, for maybe, you know, one that's definitely C minus.
Yeah.
You
Or
don't
we
want
might
to.
even like tear all the carpet out and just put the LVP down.
Mhm.
So that we don't have to worry about that in the future.
Right.
There's little things you start to figure out what makes sense to do and what doesn't make sense to do. So, in an area like that, it might make more sense to just pull the carpet out and make the floors nice throughout the whole house and match.
Do they have like a real winter there?
I don't know. I mean, here in North Carolina, we don't, but
Gotcha.
I think that's a little higher elevation. I think it probably does get kind of cold there in the winter.
Okay. And Aries asking, does PadSplit take full responsibility for vetting the tenants and making sure they pay?
Yes, they do. And that's the nice part, is that we don't have to do that. So they are screening the tenants, they're collecting the money, they're paying us. We're not having to like deal with any of that messy stuff.
Got it. Sean, do you have another question?
What's your experience with dealing with evictions on people that hit their 3 key level, Jake?
We haven't had to evict anybody.
What's PadSplit's position on that? Meaning,
like, do
here's
they
the
handle
example
it
I
or
give.
do we handle it?
If I go to
It's responsibility.
if I go to a hotel and I don't pay for my next night, turn off my key card. What will you do?
We could.
And what will PadSplit say?
PadSplit handles the eviction process, from my understanding. But we have
I
not.
might beg to differ, but
I don't think they do. Yeah, I think it's your responsibility. I think they try to get them out. Obviously, like just try to
I
kick
don't
them
mean
out.
to, yeah, forgive me. I'm not trying to be contrary. I'm just saying it's a
I think that we have
in my
to-
Vegas market, it's been a topic of discussion for a
I
year
think
or
that we would
more.
be financially responsible for paying for the eviction process and all of that, but I think that they will actually handle it for us.
Okay, maybe that's something they've evolved to, but that's new understanding.
I'll get a solid answer for you.
Yeah, it's interesting. Okay. All right. And I think it's Rob is saying Rob Anthony. And I don't know. I want to shorten that name to Rob, which isn't fair, but it's Rob Anthony. It says that that PadSplit manages the renters, not the property.
Right. They won't come and cut your grass and everything. So if you have a property that needs the lawn maintained and things like that, yeah, you have to figure that out yourself.
I got another question. Yeah, another question I have is cleaning services. I guess it's based on the owner of the property, right?
We will get we got a room cleaned every time somebody moves out, but it's just like local like I asked for local recommendations from
Like
people. I
Mary
know.
Maids or whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
What about like, what if they stay there for a couple months? Is there like someone passes through and cleans like the common spaces, like the kitchens and the living room space?
No.
Or
No, we also haven't had any complaints about, oh, the bathroom's a mess or the kitchen's a mess. I think if that happened, like that's more of a case by case thing for us. I think
So
if we were,
so it's built into the contracts of the actual renters to make sure they stay on top of their own stuff, keep their rooms clean, keep their bathrooms clean, kitchens clean. That's PadSplit's responsibility.
yeah, we haven't had to hire like any cleaning people on a regular basis or anything like that. And we've had no issues with the properties being messy that we know of.
And what about working spaces and stuff? Can you set up like a desk in the living room or something? Or if you have a living room, if you don't use it for a bedroom?
I was gonna say most of the time there's not going to be a living room. But I think that in the properties where we don't maximize all of the space and we have a living room, we'll probably just like put some furniture in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
computer space or whatever, if they work from home kind of thing.
Yeah. But I think that's more going to be in like the nicer ones. Like I think that like the Houston one, for example, I think that those people are really looking to stay in their rooms. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And what about, have you ever been, I guess it depends on the neighborhoods, BEC neighborhoods. Have you experienced any properties, you have a lot of them, have experienced any properties that have like roaches, bugs, stuff like that?
We had to send a pest company out for ants. That did happen once.
Okay. And that totally exposed the entire house or just one or two rooms or?
They were just in the kitchen.
Okay. And that's a shared kitchen.
Mhm.
Is there a
so someone put in a service, one of the tenants put in a service ticket that there was ants in the kitchen and we just had a pest company go out there and take care of them.
Oh, okay. Standard routine for
Yeah.
landlord. Yeah. Okay. And is there a standard route like equation? How many people could use a kitchen? I guess, or is it based on the size of the kitchen, I guess, too? So
so if you get over, I think you need a refrigerator for it's either 3 bedrooms or 4 bedrooms, I forget. But like in Houston, we have 6 bedrooms and we put a second refrigerator. I don't remember if we had to or not, but we did. Even if it is 8 bedrooms, I think 6 is where you want to start.
What is your thought? I'm kind of reflecting back to the days of college where we had these little mini refrigerators in the rooms and there's 2 to a room. Do you guys recommend maybe getting these small refrigerators?
I know a guy who puts a desk, a mini fridge, and a TV in all of his rooms and all of his PadSplits.
Okay.
Yes, it seems a little overkill to me, but you can do whatever you want. You don't only have to do what PadSplit requires. You just have to meet their minimum requirements.
Okay. And now last question is, I'm assuming each room is individually locked. Have you seen those new smart?
Yeah, they have every room has to have one of those Wi-Fi door locks and a number on the door. So all the rooms are numbered and they all have a way to unlock their rooms from their phones.
Now, if there's Wi-Fi for the doors, that means you're paying for the Wi-Fi for the house?
Yeah, we pay utilities and Wi-Fi, yeah.
Okay, so that's one thing. And so like if they want to use Wi-Fi, you have to make sure you got a nice big broadband.
Mm-hmm. That's the way we do it.
Wi-Fi is probably as important as electricity in these days. And part of the reason that they stay, whether it's PadSplit or whether it's any kind of co-living, is because those are included. So they know the price that's coming out of their pocket each month or each week, whatever it might be. So I think that you do want to take that into account if you're going to have a mini fridge in each one and a TV, because what good is a TV if it doesn't have cable? You're going to have, that's a bit, like you said, overkill as far as I'm concerned, but you do want to know
maybe in something like that Tennessee house. Okay. But in like Houston, no.
Okay.
What about your exit strategies to some of the houses?
Wait 1 second. I apologize. We're going to have a commercial that comes in. I see that Jimmy left us, and I want to make sure that everyone knows that if they would like to be added to the email list, because I have now about 50 people on the email list, please drop your email in the chat. I'm going to save the chat and I will check for any email and also your phone number. Because there is an advantage to knowing that the email will come in and you don't have to try to find it in the, which Facebook did you post in and when was it done and how far down is it and all that sort of thing. So please do drop your email and your phone number. I'd be happy to add you guys to the list for sure. And Rob Anthony, continue.
Yes. Effie.
I didn't leave you, Effie. I'm still here. I just switched computers.
Oh, sorry. I have your email already.
So my last question is exit strategy. When you decide to unload the property, do you convert back to whatever it originally was, or do you sell it to another PadSplit guy who might be interested, or or do you just hold long term?
I mean, our plan is definitely as long term as we can. I guess we'll just see what happens when we get there. Like right now, if you join the PadSplit Facebook group, there are investors who have active PadSplits selling them to other investors who are wanting to buy active PadSplits. So that's an option. And like I said earlier, there are actually lenders now who have loan products for the co-living model. So it's becoming more of a normal thing. And, who knows where we'll be 7, 10, 15 years from now when we're going to sell them. Worst case scenario, we have to turn it back and they'll be a lot less expensive than it costs to add the walls, I'd imagine. So it's not really something I'm worried about.
You think in the long term, like what I'm thinking is like Airbnb was the hot thing a while ago. And
that's the same question.
some might say, okay, it still is. Some say no, not based on the economy nowadays. But like, do you think this is a good 10-year plan to hold the property, or do you think it's going to get oversaturated? I guess some of the bigger cities might, or PadSplit itself might expand so wide that even the little mountain resort could be used. Who knows? I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I will say though that the properties that we're buying will all break even as a worst case scenario as a long-term rental. And so if 3 years from now, PadSplit gets outlawed and we have to go back to renting long-term, I'd have to imagine at that point, they're probably even cash flowing a little bit because it's been a few years. But if we had to go and turn around and put them into long-term rentals now, we wouldn't lose money.
The other thing is that if you research co-living, you will learn that PadSplit is a growing fish. It's not the only fish in the pond. It's not even the biggest one. And there are companies that have been around for a while and they do it in different models. So as a result of that, I mean, we're hearing about them because, they got Pace's attention. But as you heard earlier from Sean, they blew it in Nevada where was it that they pulled out? But anyways, the point is that Vegas, thank you, in Vegas. So this is a company that's growing and it seems to be limber and it seems to be, willing to change the box into a triangle or a circle and grow that way. And that's good. That's what it needs to be. And it wants to be an Airbnb, because Airbnb, you could rent a couch or you can rent a mansion. So that's what I was like, PadSplit's really small-minded to think of just this little niche. So I do think that, it does have great potential. The market is very large. And the housing shortage is real. And people are being overstressed with how much money they have to spend for the roof over their head, because it doesn't start your living. Your living starts with the roof and the eating, but you want to be able to go to a movie or whatever it is that, you buy clothes and things like that, save for a house. So there's a huge market for this. And it's been in Europe for a long time. So I think that we don't need to worry of 3 years. 10 years minimum. The HOAs get up everybody's ass. They're going to just try and stop anything. So, that's a problem. But aside from them, I think that this is going to really serve and help a lot of people, which
But
is
Effie,
right.
you said earlier that you had a poo-poo the entire idea for PadSplits. When did you
Not
decide?
not the idea of PadSplit, but the company of PadSplit, because they were initially focusing only on people who make less than 60,000 a year, people who don't have a car, ideally, people who take transportation to work, ideally, who work in Costco or Walmart, and only them. And I mean, they deserve housing and they're good people. Don't get me wrong. But I was like, what is your problem? I want to have the kind of house that Jake showed, in Clarksville. What's wrong with offering those people, a nice place? They're not going to want 4 bedrooms to each bathroom. They're going to want nice furniture. And Sam says, don't provide furniture in the bedroom. And that's a
That's-
very smart.
You have to.
It's a very smart move because it means they when they bring their own furniture, they're making it their home, and they don't move as fast. They want to stay. So I think that Sam is the only other thing I have to compare to PadSplit. Okay, so I think that this is a young market and that it's growing. Lots of different models, like Jake said, you can do what you want. And I didn't say, so don't misunderstand. It's not like I don't think I thought their limitation is what I didn't like. And I'm
Really
seeing
important
them
to
now.
explain the difference between co-living and PadSplit, Effie, if you can.
Sure. Co-living is like saying short-term rentals. And PadSplit is like saying VRBO. Okay. So in other words, PadSplit is a platform company that helps service the co-living industry. The co-living industry is huge, and PadSplit is trying to get their toes and their feet firmly planted as one of the best, organizations that help you choose and to manage a property for you. Now, Airbnb didn't ever go into managing, but it's the closest analogy that I can think of. It's a platform. They don't own any properties. Airbnb originally did. And I think Atticus also did originally. But they're in the business of helping other owners make the most out of their properties. So it's different. It's not an exact analogy, but it's similar. And so when it comes to co-living, the most amount of money that will be made will not be by Jake and you and I. It will be made by the fight that's going to happen for the platforms, because other companies are offering platforms, and then sooner or later they're going to get competitive with their management fees, or they're not going to want to do management. They'll just contract with a management company, and the platforms are where the most money will be made. Because look at wholesaling. It's all about the platforms. You look at just about anything. It's the software that's going to make the most amount of money. Anyhow, that is after a lot of thought.
The most important part to, I think, break down, Effie, is that doing a property rent by the room, you do not need PadSplit. You could do it without PadSplit, and when you do it without PadSplit, you have almost endless, like there's no rules other than the legal rules, and even then some people scare around those. But like you don't have to furnish the room, like Effie said, right? You could have people bring their own furniture, which can be what is it called? An advantage over other PadSplits, for example. Like PadSplit is automatically blocking everybody that has their own belongings.
Yep.
So there's a market out there that's not getting served.
Right.
Beyond PadSplit.
Yeah, and that's why Sam says to do half and half. Do both. It'll help you. But also co-living tends to be like the industry of co-living can be a longer view. Like you have a community of 8 people and they don't want to see anybody leave. Over time, they become friends, they do things. But for that, you need common space. You need a living room, the garage is turned into a games room or hangout room. They become a community. They have barbecues together. They know each other's family. It's a little, and they have less turnover. It's a little different because Jake's, when they're doing PadSplit, they want to be in their own room. They don't want to get to know anybody. It's a different thing. So that co-living can be a community.
I
But
forgot
it's-
too. I would say one of the biggest demographics that we've had is people who work like single guys who work night shift. And so they're really just sleeping there. They're not even ever home. That's another one we see a lot.
And co-living also spreads into rooming houses. Because I was speaking to Abraham, about doing this together. And he does rooming houses. So rooming houses in some ways, it's co-living. They share the outside walls. They have few bathrooms. And, he says he makes quite a bit of money on co-living, but a couple times a year, he has to have the police come out and break up a fight, So you go from that right up to the kind of property Jake showed, and even more luxurious. So it depends. It's very, very exciting because it is young and open. And I'm really glad. I'm grateful to the person who came to me and said that I was an idiot to say I had to wait to actually know it to teach it. I'm not teaching it. I'm just facilitating all of us learning it together. And I think that's been a blessing. I've been enjoying it a lot. Sean, I'm sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, when I watched this message that you're doing co-living, I was under the impression initially that it was some kind of house hacking where you own a house and you rent out rooms. I'm in the process right now, in the process right now of looking for like a 4-bedroom, 3-bath. And I'm a single guy. I live by myself, but I was thinking, hey, how easier could it get to generate rent and help me with the mortgage?
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, oh, let me jump on this web in the Zoom because I thought there was that. And then I heard of PadSplit before, but it's involved in multitude of different things. So I appreciate your information.
You're
Thank
welcome. And house hacking is co-living. So again, just think of short-term rentals. What does short-term rentals mean? It can mean one night. It can mean 3 months. It can mean, someplace on the beach. It can mean moving to a city to do work. So it's extremely flexible and a wide open. And the laws have to, catch up a bit, but it's happening. I'm going to call on Manya just because I haven't heard her voice yet, and I love her voice.
Oh, you're the best, Effie. Thank you so much. Thanks,
Thank-
Jake. I'm sorry I can't be on camera right now. I'm driving, but I love the
okay.
presentation. And I'm in lending, and I'm curious, what are the loan programs that you're talking about? Who are the investors, the lenders that are underwriting for PadSplit specifically?
The lender that I work with a lot from Sub 2 actually has something for this. His name is Matt Bell.
Okay.
I'm sure all of you have
All
heard
right.
his name at this point.
And he's in retail lending?
He's in investment lending.
Okay,
He's
through the
yeah.
retail channel, or he's like, I'm just curious what the loan
like hard
program,
money, like hard money and DSCR.
hard money. Got it. Okay, so they're not DSCR. I thought
And
you said they were different.
He does DSCR as
things.
well. Yeah.
Okay, but the DSCRs don't underwrite for PadSplit. So is there a different? It's
No,
probably
he does,
hard
that's what
money
I'm saying.
then.
He does have a loan product for that, a DSCR loan for that.
Specific to that.
specifically.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
There are
that
others
makes sense.
too. I've seen quite a few. There's one that people keep recommending in the PadSplit Facebook group, but I can't remember what their name is off the top of my head.
And is that PadSplit Facebook group an open forum, or is it?
I mean, you just have to click join and answer the same question. Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so
And
much.
also,
Appreciate
Manya,
it.
I should mention
Mhm.
that Sam's got a couple of lenders that he thinks are just for the the inner club. But I reached out to him. I asked him. I said, "Hey, there's some people, that want to know if they could work with you directly," and they're like, "Yeah." So if you want, I can put you in touch with one.
Yes, I would love that, because I thought that was the case as well. So I would love that.
Well, he doesn't
Okay.
mind making more money. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you both.
You're welcome. All right, so
think-
let's get to these questions. Actually, Jake, how much time do you have?
Probably until the next time my wife walks to the office door and gives me a dirty look. Let's call it 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Okay, then we're going to 4 minutes, guys, and then we're going to close it down for right now. And I am going to go to Ingrid just because I want to get as many people that have questions as possible, and then we'll come back to Sean and Jimmy if we have time.
Thanks, Effie. Hey, Jake, I just have a quick question. What is I hope no one asked this because I was trying to do a million things at once earlier. What is the average length of stay?
Well, so far, I mean, we filled those 6 rooms right in the first week. So that first week of August, and we've had 2 people move out, and a third one has put in their notice that they're leaving in a few weeks. So
So my question is this: so PadSplit fills the rooms. It's up to them to fill the vacancies.
yeah, they're doing the marketing and screening the applicants and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. I guess my thought was, Kathy and I, we had talked about getting real estate to do like midterm rentals, like for traveling nurses and stuff. And this seems like a perfect kind of thing for that. But PadSplit wouldn't have them on a list.
Not unless they went and put themselves on the list. I don't think.
Got it. Okay. All right. That's all I wanted to know. Thanks.
No problem.
Sadie just offered 2 people's names from the PadSplit Facebook group. Thank you, Sadie. Guys, save the chat if it helps you. Who's next? Sean, you got a quick question? Or maybe he just had his hand up. Jimmy, last question?
Yeah, I was just curious on what the team, you referenced it a couple times. What's the team, I guess their roles, what's everybody's role, and what's the team like?
My team?
Yeah.
I have an all-star underwriter who's been a commercial and multifamily underwriter for 12 years, like as a W-2. I have 2 people who handle the integrator side. One of them more so like the technical stuff of the website and the CRM and, all of that stuff. And the other more so like back-end communication with our partners and the agents that we may be working with, or the sellers, the title companies, all that sort of stuff, scheduling our Zooms and all that. And then I formed this team for the loan sponsorship stuff, right? So there are 3 of us who have been sponsoring, using our credit to sponsor loans, doing the capital raising, having the networking conversations, the face-to-face meetings, that type of stuff. And we've all sort of just picked up the pieces where there's been any holes. They've just kind of been filled naturally. Like, it's one of those things. It's crazy how it worked out. We didn't even really have to like define our roles. They sort of just define themselves
Nice.
as we went.
You got lucky, huh?
Yeah. And now we have someone now that we've added increasing our purchasing and building the portfolio. Now we have stuff to do on the back end. Like when we close the deal, insurance has to be changed over. We have to get that mortgage login and get the payment set up and all that stuff. So that's something that we all handle whenever we have time. It's just been, we've never had an issue with something not getting done, thankfully.
Great.
Last question maybe that I have is any challenges other than the ones mentioned before that you've experienced doing what you're doing, right? I don't even know if you mentioned it, Jake, but Jake got started with loan sponsoring and did a lot of creative ways to get into deals. And I'm not talking about Pace More, be creative. I'm talking about financing creative and all kinds of other creative stuff. So you obviously mentioned switching to creative deals more than DSCRs because that's a challenge on its own. And then you also mentioned switching from private capital to private partners, because that's another challenge where you have to start paying off a bunch of loans left and right. Any other challenges that you've kind of came across while doing what you do, which is pretty creative and different, and maybe that you have switched to and now you're doing things differently?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds silly, but we're just trying to figure out how we could buy our time back. So like, um, I'm so grateful for the amount of people who believe me and trust me and want to be, working with me and friends with me and all that stuff. But with that comes a lot of people who like want to schedule calls with me, and there's only one me, right? And so I'm I've been brainstorming on ways that I could still do that with everyone, but also find the time for it. So like whether it's doing the once a month or once every other week Zooms for people who want a PMP, so I could get all those conversations into, let's say a 2-hour window, or, I'm thinking that I'm going to start filming some YouTube videos. So a lot of the common questions I get, I could just be like, hey, go watch this 5-minute video. It should answer a lot of them. And then if you still have any questions, come back. So it's really just trying to find time, so that I could focus on scaling the business. Maybe we're talking about maybe just hiring somebody full time to do a lot of the admin type stuff, all the stuff that comes along with onboarding a property after you buy it. That stuff is very time consuming. It's not difficult, but it takes up a lot of time. So that's my biggest problem is just I don't want to let people down. And so like when people try to schedule a call with me, like I don't want to say no. And so I'm trying to find that balance between like still getting to everybody, but not making it seem like I'm too busy for anybody.
Gonna have to do one of those 24-hour pay Zooms.
Yeah.
And just like stay on. Like whoever wants to ask anything, just come on board, baby.
Yeah.
Okay,
How's your bookkeeping?
wait, sorry.
We're using Tony Counts.
Oh,
Okay.
good. I have to see that Manya's hand is still up. And I want her to ask the last question. Oh, she put it down. Okay. All right, guys, I'm going to say thank you very much for coming. I think next week we're having someone who has 100 doors. It'll be a very interesting one. I'm going to continue as much as I can because I know I'm going to learn a lot, and that you guys will learn. And again, if you haven't dropped your name, phone number, and your email, do it now if you want. And I want to say thank you very, very much, Jake. I will.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And I'm going to, but guys, this will be online tomorrow. Zoom takes a long time to render, and then it takes just as long to be uploaded. But you can listen to it again and you can learn. So I am happy for everyone. And Jake, just give me a quick call or a text.
Okay.
All right, everybody, I'd like to say thank you so, so much. And Jake and your wife and the kids, thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
guys.
See you next week, guys.